the people in Slough didn't vote. And it's going to be my job to ensure that we get their trust and confidence back, that they feel that they should be engaging in the democratic process. I knocked on thousands of doors, and I thought it was important that I should be fronting up the campaign. I should be going there to speak to constituents directly, to hear what their issues are, because that will make me a better informed Member of Parliament. That's what I have been doing over the last 7 years, when I have helped over 42,000 Slough constituents with various issues, and it is important that I continue on in that regard. But as I went to various doors, some people said, well, look, I was going to vote against because of Gaza. I said, what is it particularly about Gaza? He said, look, I'm just so angered, I'm just so frustrated about what's going on. I said, I too am angered. What is going on there is atrocious, is intolerable. I said, Labour Party leadership, not just your Slough MP who's been speaking about it month in, month out. I said, you only need to go onto my Insta or TikTok or X or Facebook, on YouTube. I said, you will see how I've spoken up about it. But I said, look, we need to lodge a protest. We need to either vote against, or we need to just not vote. Because I've got faith and trust in you. You've done a lot of good work over the last 7 years. But why has the Labour Party not stopped this war? Why have we not had a ceasefire? I said, well, look, for the last 14 years, but we've not been in government. We've been in opposition. But we have been speaking out for peace. And we will continue to do that. I said, look, my job as your Member of Parliament has been to speak up for peace, and I will continue in that same endeavour if only you were to re-elect me. And I said, well, look, I don't know, and, this is very, very difficult for me, because on the one hand, I want to vote for you, but then I'm thinking, if I vote for you, then I am voting against Gaza, I'm voting for genocide. I said, you're not voting. I said, that is just pure misinformation. These WhatsApp videos and what's going around, I said, that is so far from the truth. In fact, there's only ever been one motion in the UK Parliament that has passed, and that has been the Labour Party motion for an immediate ceasefire back in February. But that was the level of misinformation that there was, that many people weren't even aware of this. So I couldn't get to every door. I couldn't have a conversation with every single Slough constituent, the 75,000 plus that there were out there, to try to explain to them. But that is what my job will be. Even people that didn't vote for me, I have got to bring their faith and trust in me. And those people, the 47% that didn't even cast their ballot, it is our collective responsibility to ensure that they do engage in democracy, because that is how governments are formed. It is our vote that is our right, and that is the power that we hold in our hands. Because I tell you what, if we didn't all work hard, if we all just sat at home, or if we let the abuse and the intimidation overpower us, then we wouldn't have a Labour MP, we wouldn't have our say in that future Labour government. And my job also will be not just to unite the communities, but also ensure that we get the best possible deal for Slough. Slough for too long has been overlooked. Under the Conservative government, we have seen the level of funding, whether it's to our council services, whether it's to our police, whether it's to our public services. We've seen public services decimated. And that must stop. And I will be doing my level best to ensure that the Labour government gives Slough a fair deal, that we get more funding and investment into our town to sort out the various issues, the various problems that we have. We have areas of high affluence, but we also have areas of social deprivation. We've got issues around childhood malnutrition. We've got more than 3,000 people who are dependent on food banks. So there are so many problems. I'm fully cognizant of the fact that we've got a dire strait in terms of our public finances, because the Tories managed to crash the economy. They've managed to do so much damage. We've got the highest NHS waiting list on record. We've got the highest tax burden since the Second World War. So all of these problems are problems that the likes of myself and the Labour government will have to grapple with. But it's our job as Keir Starmer said, straight away, we can't rest on our laurels, form the government, get people in place and start working from day one for a better, brighter future for all of us. That is what a Labour government is about, and that is what your MP is about. I will continue, as I have done over the last 7 years, well over 300 advice surgeries, MP advice surgeries, where my hard-working team in my Child Bee office here in Slough, along with my parliamentary office, by the way, a very multicultural team. I know one member of that decided that he was going to leave my team after taking pictures and 4 days later stood as a candidate against me. But the rest of the team is very, very diverse and they are very hard-working. And we will continue in that same endeavour. 5 different advice surgeries, including one on a Sunday morning, will be happening. And what I will also ensure is that not only do we help constituents here, but your various issues I will be raising. Whether it's about Slough, whether it's about human rights. You know you've got a human rights champion because I have raised the issues, whether it's about what's happening in Xinjiang, whether what's happening in Palestine, or whether it's what's happening in Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Africa, Latin America, you name it, anywhere in Europe, Ukraine, this crisis, that crisis. Whenever constituents have written to me about democracy, about press freedoms, whether it's about human rights, of Kashmiris, of Punjabis, of Indians, of Pakistanis, of Sri Lankans, when during the COVID crisis, many of our Sri Lankan community members, they came up to me and they said, look, our relatives out there, they cannot even bury their dead. That was the local Christian and Sri Lankan Muslim community. They said, look, you've got to speak up on it. So that's exactly what I did in Parliament. Many people say, look, why are you raising international issues? Well, those issues are also important to so many people in Slough, and that is what I will continue to do as your Member of Parliament. So rest assured,